In the MMIT project, buy versus build, we were discussing reporting services needs. And so today I would like to demo a potential solution that handles a couple of those requirements. One is we need a way to be able to convert crystal reports into another reporting format that offers us then, which is the next requirement, the flexibility for technical people to build a formulary report while allowing formulary ops people without highly technical tools the ability to change things like styles and margins and get the reports formatted and tweaked to accommodate client requirements. And so I'm going to demo something called Microsoft SQL Server Reporting Services. This is all on my local machine. I'm using development level tools, but the workflow should remain primarily the same, and that's what I'm demoing, the capability and the workflow. So to start with, we will begin by showing, um, I will show you SQL Server. So I'm running SQL Server 12 on my desktop to do this. I've installed AdventureWorks 2014 database. And in here, I have simply, that's just a database that comes off the web as demo sample data, lots of different tables and data. I've had to add two stored procedures to make this demo work today. One is a sales by territory, year and month store procedure, which returns things grouped in that manner that I just said. And then an input parameter to the report, which would let you select territories when reviewing the results. And so here's the territories report. I'm not going to go into any more detail on what the stored procedures do, other than to say now that I have the stored procedures I need in the database, I would want to create a report as a technical person in reporting services so that others could use that report like a formulary report, but then we'll finally answer the question, how would formulary ops edit that report without having tools like Visual Studio, for example, which they don't want to have or learn, I would imagine, and nor would we want them to. So the next step is I will show Visual Studio. Visual Studio has an additional project that can be added via database tools plugin that they freely distribute, and that allows you to build projects. Let me demo that quickly here that are of the type report server project. And so that gives you the ability to create reports. In here, you have to do a couple things. So what I'm demoing is first creating a data source that is a shared data source. And then the project itself, which is called Report Project 1, I didn't get too clever there, contains one or more reports that all then share that shared data source. Why would you do that? The advantage is SQL Report Server reporting server gives you the ability to have all of the reports use shared data sources so that at some point, if you are setting up a different server, renaming it, moving databases to different servers, wanting to point the reports at those different servers, you do it in one place, and this is what would then all of the reports would use that same shared data source to redirect to the new server. So it makes it really easy to kind of keep the reports tied together. So in here, what I've done is just made a very basic report where we look at the groupings of the territory, sales territory, the year of those sales transactions, the month of those sales transactions, and then they are subtotaled at all of those levels. So by territory, by year, and by month. So that's the basic idea of the report. In addition to that, we use that territories lookup so that we can actually select territories, one or more, which is part of the trick of being able to pass in sort of comma delimited list and have it parse that into an in clause in a SQL statement store procedure so that we can look at the results. So with that, both of these parts then, both the shared data source as well as the report itself are deployable. And then deployment is based on the properties of the project itself. You point that at a specific reporting server. Maybe there are one or more, and then you deploy to that server. So that's sort of how it works. You can test it, you can get it working, you can do a preview, see how it looks when it's loading the data. So we're going to see a quick preview here. Here's the data for Canada. And you can see how we have it set up. So only Canadian data here. It filtered out all the other possible territories, and then it has like this darker header, for example. So again, that's how that works. So let's take a look at how this would look once it's actually deployed. So let me minimize that out of the way, and this, and here's sort of what it looks like. So our project is here. So you want to aptly name our projects so that they're grouped, by report sets. Now click into that. This project group only has one report. I'm going to click on that. Then that will look exactly like what we just saw in the other screen. So here's Canada again. I'll view the report. Again, let's imagine we want to see something else, not Canada. We want to see Northeast to Northwest. Again, this isn't like exactly formularies, but this could be like a list of clients, and it's generating those formularies on the fly or something. So here is the next results. It obviously pages to multiple pages. You can style it however you want, which begs the question: how then could we style that differently so that we are seeing what formulary ops wants out of the future style? Because there's a very particular client that has a need. That's where the next tool comes in. So there's a tool called Report Builder, and Microsoft SQL Server Report Builder gives us the ability to connect to a deployment server. So I'm going to connect over here to my local server. And now when I go and attempt to open a report, it shows me those projects again. So I can go in here. Again, this report was written in Visual Studio by technical people using technical tools. But I can now style things differently, change the margins on stuff, move it all around, do what I need to do to make this report look right. We can put a logo up here if we wanted, whatever we want to do. So I'll go in here and just make a couple brief changes. I'm going to change the lettering here to be orange on these labels. I don't really know my way around these tools yet, honestly, so I'm just giving a very quick demo. And then with that in place, now I'm just going to hit save. And again, imagine I'm a non-technical person just using this report designer tool. I can take the margins off. There's like all kind of border margins on these cells, right? I could go in here and say, none of them get margin borders, just that top area there. Now that I've saved that, let's go back and let's reload this report. So remember, this is how it looked coming out of Visual Studio. And then here's our new report, just brand new themed in that other tool. So it gives you the ability to do all the things we want to do, but tools for non-technical people. So here's the kicker of all of that. The tools itself, the reporting server comes with SQL Server. You can leave it on the same server using the same resources, or we can move it on to a different server. Obviously, the cost there is the labor, the maintenance, but there's no licensing cost to the tool itself. For everyone that's licensed to use Visual Studio, the database tools that get added to be able to build report server reports and report server projects, there's no additional cost or licensing there. And then the report builder itself for formulary ops, there's no additional cost there. That's just a freely distributed tool by Microsoft. And so, in a sense, this is what we could do. So the next question is, how hard would it be? Is it possible to convert a Crystal report to a reporting services report? And that's where entire companies have been built to do this kind of thing. So here's Crystal Report's SSRS conversion, and they will even take a single report, free sample conversion, and do one conversion no matter how complex it is. So we could literally have them do one and then decide if we can figure it out from there, or pay them to do all of our formulary changes. Either way, that's www.crystalmigration.com. And then finally, there are plenty of articles out there on how to schedule or create subscription processing to do to associate reporting services with different individuals. It's also true that these tools integrate with SharePoint to be able to create like reporting dashboards and stuff like that. But this is something we could add to our wheelhouse that would help us in that MMIT project.